and welcome to Wealth Reset in Transition. Now about to be the 153 podcast, and you will know about it a little bit later. But anyway, this podcast is really for the leaders who are carrying a lot and don't always have a place to lay it down. So today we're just asking a real question, and that is, where do leaders hide? And it's not in the literal sense, but it's more emotionally, spiritually, really internally. And we know and I understand that when leadership, or the weight it gets heavy, hiding really now appear like the only solution. It's the only way to survive. But the thing is, you cannot heal what you are hiding, and we cannot even lead without being present, right? We do understand that. So I want to talk about some of the hiding spots, maybe like common places where leaders hide, and it might be busyness. Like you tell yourself, if I continue to move, if I have so much to do and my plate is full, then I don't have to feel. It can also come in the form of control. So it's like, if I micromanage everything, then I don't have to deal with what's happening inside. I don't have to face the truth. It can also be, silence. Silence is, I won't share, with anybody because they don't get it. And sometimes we like to convince ourselves that nobody can truly understand what I'm going through. They won't be able to relate. It's also the fear of being vulnerable. It's really, that performance mask that we put on, and it tells us, look strong, right? Because if you fall apart before people, in front of people, then you are showing a sign of weakness. And leadership is almost like, in contrast or in opposition with weakness. So it's like leaders don't have any weakness. Leaders are supposed to appear strong. Leaders have to keep the face, right? They are competent, they are skilled, they are experienced. So it's like they just have to keep that frame or keep that reputation, so to speak. So let me just ask you this question really quick. Where do you hide most often? Is it one of those things that I mentioned: busyness, control, silence, performance, or maybe something that I didn't even mention, but you can tell, like, you know what, Camille, yeah, this is me. This is what I use. Which one? I'm curious. Think about that for yourself and just ask yourself, where do I hide? And now I want to move on to this question also, maybe this part of why do we hide? And the thing is, most of us really learn that lesson, unfortunately, I will say, too early. That being vulnerable, I shouldn't even call it a lesson, because it's not really a lesson, it's actually a lie. We'll get to that even next week. I'll just want to dive even deeper into that topic, because today I don't want to be long, but I want to leave you with that. It's not even a lesson. We've really adopted, embraced the lie that being vulnerable is a liability, right? Especially if you are a leader, if you are in charge. So what do? We protect ourselves, right? We feel like, okay, I have to put myself in that box. I have to stay there. It's like, I have to show face, right? So what happens is, we stop telling the truth. We stop asking for help, and we simply lose touch, with ourselves. We just disconnect. And the thing is, and the reality is, it's hard at some point to even go back and say, where and when did that happen? Because it happens gradually. It's not something that happens overnight. It's not like, all of a sudden you were this way and then the next day you are another way. Not at all. It's progressive, and it's very subtle. You don't pay attention, and that's why today topic is very dear to my heart. And even next week we'll go into that, because what really is important, that we often overlook, that we don't count, we don't see, is the cost of hiding. We don't talk about the cost of hiding. What does hiding does to you in the long term? You disconnect from your own needs. You get bitter. You can still be serving and leading and training and, directing and all of that. but you are still bitter, you are resentful, you become reactive instead of being responsive. You may have the title, but you really lose, that voice. You really lose that presence. You really lose even your compassion, right? You lose what makes you you, what made you a leader in the first place. Now, because of the appearance, because of what you feel like you have to keep. And the thing is, people can still clap for you. They will still celebrate you. They will still reward you, right? And even sometimes appreciate you because they see the results. But the thing is, those results won't last. Or even if they do, which anyway they don't, but even if they did, it will still not fill you. It will still not bring you that joy, that fulfillment, that satisfaction that you once had, right? Because you know now that you are almost, operating from that mechanical posture, that mechanical place where it's like you have disconnected from your feelings, you have disconnected from your emotions, you've disconnected from the real you, from the authentic you. And like now, maybe the question is, but how do I come out? How do I stop? It's like already spiraling out of control. I'm already in it. I'm already in the cycle. So how do I escape? How do I get out of it? And I want you to do that one thing today. I mean, more than one thing, but it starts with one. First, I want you to identify your hiding pattern. I want you to detect and to determine, is it busyness? Is it control? Is it, maybe I've just become even numb? Is it silence? Do I just shut down? What is it? Maybe when you feel overwhelmed, you shut down. So I don't want you to just say, I'm tired, because sometimes we just say, I'm tired. I'm tired. And when you say, I'm tired, people think you need a vacation. But it's not about needing a vacation. It's about naming the behavior. I shut down when I feel overwhelmed. I become hyper productive when I feel insecure. And awareness is number one, right? I know, we're going beyond emotional intelligence, but as part of it, even when we step into spiritual intelligence, awareness doesn't disappear. Yes, there is that first layer of being self aware, knowing where you are, knowing what's happening, being able to give a name to what you're feeling and where you are positioned and what is happening not only around you, but within you. And then, the second part, when I talk about spiritual intelligence, that is way more, than emotional intelligence. It's not just that awareness of self, but it's the awareness of God. It's awareness of the higher power. It's the awareness that, there is something, there is someone that is so much greater. And you need to know also where you are positioned in his plan, where you are positioned in what is doing and what is happening. And once you know the pattern, you know where you are, you figure out, that maybe I'm in the cycle of busyness, maybe I'm, my pattern is control, whatever the case may be, and maybe something that I didn't even mention. But the second thing I want you to do is to interrupt that cycle. I want you to ask yourself, okay, what do I really need right now? Not what needs to get done. What do I need, like the second thing? No. And I know, sometimes you just need to rest. I understand. Sometimes, it may be help. You may need help. Sometimes it's just being able to say, you know what, I'm not okay. Today is not a good day. I don't feel like it. It's just not a good day, and it's okay. And why, I said this is very important because I know the weight, I know the burden that we sometimes carry, when we have other people that we're leading, when we have other people that we feel responsible for. And I'm not just diminishing the weight, I'm not discrediting the responsibility, because I do know to some extent that is very important. And it's not something that we take lightly, because I mean, you talk about the livelihood of other people, you talk about the soul, sometimes you talk about families, right? You talk about, it's a lot that is at stake. It's a lot. So the weight can feel heavy. But what is important is most leaders, or why it's important, because most leaders struggle. And they struggle because they don't have a language for what they feel. And sometimes it's not just not having the language for what they feel. They may have the language, but they don't have the space. They don't have the space where they feel safe enough to name what's happening. They feel safe enough to disclose, to be vulnerable, to be authentic, to share their burden, to share, like, okay, that's the truth. This is what I'm facing right now. This is what I'm feeling right now. This is what's happening. Maybe I'm not I'm not able to do what I was once able to do. Maybe I don't have that fire anymore. There is something in me that is dying and I cannot explain what it is. There is just, I don't have that passion anymore. I don't have that drive. Or maybe, I'm doubting a little bit my abilities. In this season, I know, maybe I'm the guy for the job. Maybe I'm the girl for the job. But for some reason, I'm starting to doubt myself. Self doubt is creeping in a little bit. I don't feel like I'm adequate. I don't, whatever the case may be. And it may be hard, not because you don't know how to name it. Some people have a hard time just to name it. I understand, because they don't even stop long enough. They don't pause long enough to reflect and to ask themselves what's happening. Why? What is that? Yes, that is one category, but then there is the other category that although they know what it is, they're like, okay, but who do I tell that to? How do I share it? How? Is it safe to do so? Where do I go? And that's really, why I said it's very dear to me, because one of my assignment, at least for the season, is really to invite you to that space where you can process what you're going through. You can, it's so crazy, and I'm just going to share it as I'm seeing this image. You don't get undressed in the store. And don't get me wrong, I've seen some people sometime in the store that don't want to go to the fitting room, and they just want to wear, the clothes on top and just see if it fits. But when you want to truly see if a piece of clothing truly fits you, you take it and you go to the fitting room, right? And you undress and you put it on. And we understand that undressing doesn't happen in the middle of the store. And why am I using this image? Because some leaders right now need the fitting room. Some leaders right now need a space and a place where they can undress, not literally, but where they can undress, right? Where they can just unload, they can remove that weight, and they can just be true and reconnect. Because when you don't do it, you lose touch with yourself. You lose focus, you lose the drive, you lose the momentum, you lose the passion, you lose the fire. And yet you may be alive, like physically, but inside you are dying. And I'm really, honestly, I'm reaching a point where I'm just tired myself of seeing leaders that are leading while they're bleeding inside. I'm tired of seeing leaders who are protecting others and have no one to protect them. And I know this message and what I'm doing is not for everyone, and I'm perfectly okay with it. But what I want to share with you, if you feel like this is for you, I want to tell you that you don't have, yes, to take the mask in front of everyone, but you have to start somewhere with someone. You can't be strong with everybody. You can't be strong everywhere. You can't be the one in charge every and any time. You just have to bring oxygen back into your leadership again, for a lack of better term. So growth, yes, is uncomfortable, but let me tell you, if you stay hidden longer, it will even cost you more, right? And it's not a weakness to name what you're feeling. It's not a weakness. It takes nothing from your abilities, from your skills, from your competence, from your achievements, even from your accomplishment, to just recognize and acknowledge that, you know what, I'm hitting a wall right now. So anyway, I told you I don't want it to be long, but I want to give you just, practical step, maybe a next step, not a challenge, but something to do. So grab your journal, grab your notepad, and I want you to write down just that one place where you tend to hide. What is that one place for you? Is it busyness? Is it control? Is it silence? Is it performance? Whatever. Is it fear? Is it withdrawal? Whatever. Numbness? I don't know. Maybe something even physical. I don't know, but you know. So write down that one place where you tend to hide. And I want you to share it. Say it out loud first. Share it with yourself first. Be honest enough and vulnerable, even with yourself. Speak it out loud first. And then, if you are someone of faith like me, share it with God. If you are not, it's okay. Find maybe a trusted person, because I'm sure you can find that one. If it's your spouse, if it's your best friend, I don't know. But that one person, a mentor, an advisor, a coach, whatever, but that one trusted person that you can share it with. And I want you to set, time aside on your calendar, at least every day, maybe for a week or so, 15 minutes. And I want you to take time to check with yourself. Do your morning check ins or your evening check ins. And I want you to give yourself permission to feel. I want you to give yourself permission. Give yourself permission, to see, to identify the pattern. What is happening? Where am I hiding? I want you to do that. And every time, you will just uncover new layers or maybe new hiding places. You know, some hide behind the calendars. So that may be for you also. Go back to it and check your calendar and see what are you hiding behind. And the goal is not just, for you to say to, I don't want to come and tell you stop hiding, because that's not it. But it's really to provide you with this place, where you can hide freely, and not hide in that, sense that, you just, but it's really having that place where you can take your mask off, you can remove the load and the burden. So anyway, I'll talk more about it, but I have in my heart to start what I call the 153 circle. And it's really giving that place to leaders like you who feel weary, who feel burden, who feel like, I'm all things to everybody, but I don't have that safe space for me. I don't have that place where I can renew, where I can recharge, where I can just even have honest feedback, because I feel like maybe the people around me are so used to me that now they may be afraid to tell me the truth, or they don't recognize anymore. I don't know. Maybe you've hidden so well that they cannot discern. Maybe you need that space. And that's why I have in my heart to start this 153 circle. And I'll tell you more about even the 153, because this is really a new season, even for me. But 153, all it represents is a shift. All that number is, of course, there is more to it. But for now, I want you to remember that what I'm talking about is just a shift. It's an invitation for you to do something different. It's an invitation for you to try something that maybe you have not yet tried, or maybe you considered before, but you didn't feel like it was the time or it was for you. But now this is for you. So anyway, I'll give you more information about it in the coming weeks. And I hope that this message really inspires you and really give you what you needed for today. So feel free to share it with someone that you know might need it, and someone that you love. And I want you to know that you are not carrying all of that alone, and you don't have to do it. Right, you don't have to do it. So anyway, if you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, feel free to do that. And also, hit the notification, all these things that people do, right? Hit the notification bell, so at least you will be informed when I come on. But until then, I want you to really do that homework, lead honestly and lead whole. That's really the goal. We want to lead whole, because when we lead whole, we lead well. So anyway, this is the 153 podcast, and I was really excited to share this word with you. And I pray that it blesses you, and I will see you next week.